10, Vader doing the moonsault. Now, Vader is well established for being one of the greatest big men to ever step foot in a wrestling ring. The reason that Vader stood out so much was that some of his moves were moves that nobody of his size should have been doing. One of them was a moonsault, which Vader usually executed to perfection. To see a 450-pound wrestler glide through the air with relative ease made for such exciting viewing and truly made Vader a pro wrestling legend. On occasion, Vader was even also able to land on his feet following the moonsault attempt. This was truly remarkable, and fans would often marvel at Vader's athletic abilities. Number 9, The Big Show doing an elbow drop from the top rope. One of the reasons that The Big Show has had such an amazing career is that he has the ability to work with wrestlers of any size. From Rey Mysterio to Mark Henry, The Big Show has had high-profile feuds with virtually every top wrestler, and he's even managed to adapt his wrestling style in every match he's ever been in. Fans don't often realize just how gifted the former WWE champion is in the ring. He can do things fans wouldn't believe for a man of his size. Occasionally, he likes to deliver a top rope elbow drop, which is an incredible sight to witness. In recent years, The Big Show has been reluctant to perform the top rope elbow drop, mainly due to him having a ton of nagging injuries. However, if the moment ever comes again, he will without a question deliver the move to the delight of fans. Number 8, Kane flying clothesline. Throughout his 25-year career, WWE Hall of Famer Kane has created a moveset which is synonymous with his character. One of the moves that Kane likes to perform in his matches is the flying clothesline from the top rope. When Kane began to do this, it came as somewhat of a surprise, as Glenn Jacobs was traditionally reluctant to perform any moves outside of his comfort zone. Nevertheless, it's a truly extraordinary move which has added so much to Kane's iconic character. There was even an occasion where Kane performed the clothesline from the top of the steel cage. This would take place at Armageddon 1999 during a match with X-Pac, and it's truly one of the most replayed and most memorable moments of Kane's decorated career. Number 7, Rikishi, a splash, but at the top of a steel cage. Rikishi is often forgot about when discussing some of the greatest big men to ever step foot in a wrestling ring. Rikishi was incredibly talented. He had charisma and he could move like someone who belonged on 205 Live. Now, although Rikishi rarely went airborne, his selling of a clothesline which saw him rotate his whole body in the air was phenomenal. This is a type of selling which has been replicated in all styles of wrestling, but Rikishi was one of those rare people who was a big man and could perform the move. But during the fully loaded pay-per-view in 2000, Rikishi created one of the most iconic moments of the entire Attitude Era. During a steel cage match with Val Venus, Rikishi ascended to the top of the cage and amazingly he performed a splash right onto Venus. It was truly unbelievable and nobody saw it coming. And these types of spots have been done various times, but to see a man close to 500 pounds perform the move was truly a spectacle. Number 6, The Big Show doing a sunset flip / kip up. The Big Show often attempted to reinvent himself by introducing new moves into his moveset. This was the case during a 10-man tag match on an episode of SmackDown in 2014. In the match, The Big Show successfully performed a sunset flip on Eric Rowan. The move even shocked The Big Show's teammates, who looked absolutely flabbergasted in relation to what The Big Show had just done in the middle of the ring. The extent of The Big Show's athletic abilities can never be denied. There was a point in time that The Big Show used to perform a kip-up in his matches. This was usually done by the likes of Shawn Michaels, but the 500-pound Big Show doing it with relative ease was truly special. Oh my goodness! Number 5, Keith Lee dived to the outside. Now, they don't call Keith Lee limitless for nothing. Since his WWE debut, Lee has shown fans how his moveset seems to be taken from a 205 Live superstar. One of the most impressive moves that Lee has ever executed was a dive he performed on an episode of Raw. On the 4th November 2019 edition of Raw, superstars were brawling to the outside of the ring when Lee shocked fans by performing a dive onto the other superstars. Even though this was a move traditionally saved for much lighter superstars, the 340-pound Lee flew through the air with grace, and it made for an incredible viewing. Number 4, Bam Bam Bigelow doing a moonsault. The late great Bam Bam Bigelow was one of the most influential big men in the history of pro wrestling. Bam Bam's style was so unique and so vastly different to anything on offer from a wrestler of his size that he became one of the most well-known wrestlers in the world during the 1990s. Bam Bam would often deliver moonsaults as well as perform cartwheels in the ring. Bigelow was a true marvel in the world of professional wrestling and would fit in perfectly in today's landscape of pro wrestling. Number 3, Kevin Nash dived to the outside. Kevin Nash is one of the most successful big men to ever lace up a pair of wrestling boots. Although Nash has tremendous success in WWE, WCW, and TNA, his wrestling style was always that of a traditional big man. His moveset consisted of slams, punches, a choke slam, and a powerbomb. That was it. However, there was one occasion when Nash was in WCW that he decided to shock the world by performing a dive onto the Big Show. This took place at the sold-out pay-per-view in 1998. The Big Show, who was going under the name of the Giant at the time, was on the outside of the ring. Suddenly, Nash dived over the top rope. It was completely